this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LeTip Live. LeTip is an organization of like-minded individuals coming together to help each other's businesses grow and flourish. And today we have a treat for you. That's right, we got Thomas Messina from NEXUS. He's going to be talking about his story and what he's all about. But I do want to remind you guys that we are live. So if you have a question, comment, or concern, you can put it in the comment section. We can bring it on live with us today. And myself or Thomas will answer it live with you today. So yeah, let's get the show on the road. Thomas, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
Long overdue.
Absolutely. We had snowstorms, like 2 blizzards, and then the summer came, and now it's time to party.
Well, actually, we're back in the winter.
Back in the winter, yeah. It's getting cold again. So hopefully that's short-lived.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's dive into this. Let's dive into your story, what you're all about. So why don't you tell us, like, what are you doing with yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with, I do insurance sales, right? Life insurance, long-term care, disability, working with individuals, businesses, protect their assets, protect their hard-working assets to make sure that they're setting themselves up for the financial future.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it for?
So my story goes back about 13, 14 years. I was a college intern. I was actually a marketing major, fun fact.
Nice.
Knew somebody in town when I was home for spring break. Like, oh, what are you doing, for work? Or what's your major? I was like, oh, I'm a marketing major. He's like, I got a guy in New York Life. Let me introduce you. It ended up not being a marketing job, was a sales, life insurance sales position. Did it for the summer going into my senior year. As a 21-year-old, offered me a job when I graduated that following spring. I'm like, you know what? Let me lock it in. I'll have a job for senior year. I could, study. I could enjoy myself a little bit. And then, if it doesn't work out for me in the future, I'll deal with that then. And I graduated in the fall of 2014 and been doing it ever since. So it's kind of expanded just from life insurance to doing long-term care, disability, health insurance. But, it's been a great ride so far.
Awesome. What are some of your favorite aspects of the gig?
The beauty of my job, no day is the same, right? So I work with different people every day. I don't just sit behind the desk. I'm out meeting people. Pre-COVID, I was in people's homes a lot, getting to see their story, learn about them. You hear a lot of different, you see a lot of different, avenues of where people have accumulated wealth. I put protection plans in place, and you get to learn about their stories, whether it's people just starting out looking to put something in place, or people getting ready to retire, looking to leave that legacy behind with assets and estate planning, things like that nature. Just being able to see different perspectives and then utilize that in my world, right? Like for my own self, I've been learning from a lot of different clients of mine who I've done some planning with, to put those plans in place for myself.
Awesome. So when is a good time to start planning? When is a good time to start looking and have a conversation?
Of course, yeah. So, a lot of times it's life-changing events, right? So on the life insurance side, it's when you're getting married, buying a house, having a kid, starting a family, or it's usually a great time. Again, obviously depends on all the insurances, but disability insurance is as we start making money, right? A lot of people have disability insurance through their employer, but there's a gap between what the employer is providing versus what you truly need in coverage. So as we start to make more money and grow in our career, it's always a great time to just kind of reevaluate where that gap may be on the disability side. And from a long-term care perspective, just as you get closer to retirement, 55 plus typically is when we start to have those conversations from a long-term care perspective, because you've worked so hard in your career to build assets, to build a family, and you want to leave something behind. The last thing you want is to need long-term care, go into a home and you're spending down assets at a rapid rate. As I'm not sure if you're familiar, but costs are pretty drastic, especially in the area where we are. So being able to have some type of long-term care coverage protects those assets for future generations.
Beautiful. So yeah, we are live, guys. So I want you to help me host, and I want you guys to put questions and comments into the comment section. We'll answer them live with you today. So I need your help doing my job over here being a host. So please put your comments and questions in the comment section. We're live here with Thomas Messina from NEXUS. And, speaking of long-term care, so what is the, first step, and what should people be thinking about when it comes to long-term care?
Yeah, long-term care, it goes beyond just the insurance, right? So again, typically you're looking at people closer to retirement in that 50 to 55 range is really when the conversation should start. The plans that they used to sell back in the early 2000s, right? Those were fruitful plans that a lot of older people now have, which is great. But you want to look back at a lot of new products have come out where there's hybrid plans, life insurance and long-term care kind of together, where a lot of the skepticism around long-term care is I'm never going to need it, right? How many times do you hear people like, oh, if I need long-term care, just take me out back, right? Put a pillow on my head. I get that all the time.
Oh boy,
that's not reality. Right? So nowadays we've seen popular products come out where it's again that combination of long-term care and life insurance, where you can pay it for only a certain period of time. So that's why we're seeing pre-retirees looking into these plans, because they can pay it while they're still making money. And then when they retire, it's a fully funded long-term care plan. And if you never leave long-term care, you get the life insurance. So really that 55 range is really a great sweet spot to start the conversation. As you get older, obviously it becomes more and more expensive, but never too young to start that conversation. But that's really where we're seeing it. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, like you said, people usually say, "Oh man, take me out backs," but I'm sure you're in a situation where what you're doing is setting people up and very impactful in their lives. So why don't we share some of the good aspects and maybe a specific story if you helped the client and you felt like you were super impactful into their lives?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to insurance planning, I mean, I got a lot of different stories on the life insurance end. Unfortunately, I took a plans out on two young, healthy couple, husband and wife, just started a family. They were 30 years old, 5 years in. The wife had to go for an operation. It was an optional surgery where she ended up dying on the operating table. The young kid at home, the husband was working, he relied on the wife to be the homemaker to raise the child. So I was able to step in with a life insurance check, give that to the family, buy time for him to take off of work, to be there with, obviously his son, with, his grieving family, to kind of take some time, right? When you don't have that insurance in place, you're scrambling to pay for things, to figure out who's going to take care of the kid. Where's the kid going to go to school now, right? Things of that nature. You make unfortunate decisions, but just having I learned that happened early on in my career, and it really had an impact for kind of why I wanted to stick in this business, why I wanted to work with people just starting out, because you see that impact. And again, even for myself, right? I have two young kids. I know I jumped right into the business end, but I have two young kids myself. I have an almost 3-year-old daughter, Vienna, and a 9-month-old Olivia. The first thing, not the first thing, but when my wife was, first said that, she was pregnant, my first thought was we got to get more life insurance, right? Like we need to really talk about protecting one another, God forbid something happens. So it's an unfortunate thing, right? No one ever wants to talk about these types of insurance because they're negative impacts on our life, but it's reality, right? We're all going to die eventually, right? I think the stats like 50-60% of people are going to become disabled, right? So you need to have that type of protection and care in place for the what ifs.
Absolutely. So like, obviously, that you did a great job and you were able to be there. And these are subjects that, sometimes they're unpleasant, but based on that experience, is there any tips, or obviously you want to talk to you as soon as possible, but coming through that and living that, is there anything that you could share with us that you learned that maybe we should be thinking about or doing, or anything along those lines?
I mean, just having conversations, right? And it doesn't just start with the physical insurance, like estate planning. Speak with an attorney, speak with someone who's going to help you set up wills, trusts, powers of attorney, because that stuff's important too. A lot of people think, oh, I have money, when I pass away, my beneficiaries are going to get that. A lot of times we see people haven't changed their beneficiaries in years, and you start an insurance plan, you start a 401k with a financial advisor, and you set up your beneficiary when you're 21 years old, and then you get married, you have kids, but you never change your beneficiary when you were 21. So obviously making sure you have protection, but making sure everything's up to date, making sure those beneficiaries, the addresses, names on policies, bank accounts. Run into clients all the time who, hey, my policy lapsed. I just didn't know the bank account wasn't, it got hacked. I had to close my account, and next thing you know, it's been 3 months and now my policy lapsed, and oh, by the way, I'm not insurable, right? So some of those like little tidbits are very important to stay on top of. They say you should be reviewing your wills, trusts, stuff like that every 5 years. I say you should be doing your beneficiaries every 3 years, right? Obviously, you have major life changes. You want to update it, but you always want to review that stuff because, you may have a kid, and next thing you know, one kid's a beneficiary because you forgot to change it after 2 years, and you pass away, and one of your kids inherited all your money.
And he's not sharing.
Yeah, and then it becomes a whole different conversation. But little stuff like little stuff like that really goes a long way. And that's where we step in to help our clients with our annual reviews. We're doing those simple beneficiary checks. It takes 2 minutes to kind of have that conversation, but it's important in the long run.
Absolutely. So what would you say is one of the biggest mistakes you see families making nowadays when purchasing life insurance? You see any mistakes that they can avoid?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are uneducated getting into products. We were talking about it before. Infinite banking, right? People thinking, oh, you could put all this money into plans. And yes, it does work, but those are long-term plans. So you see a lot of uneducated decisions being made. Unfortunately, in the business that I'm in, right, you get a lot of people who are selling products that aren't educated, which is part of the issue. But really kind of making sure that when you are looking into certain planning, you understand how they work, you understand the funding mechanism. I've seen clients who buy term policies and then the rate after the term goes up, but they thought they had a permanent policy. So just making sure you're properly educated and then not waiting. You see people who say, well, I'll get life insurance, when I need it, when I'm a little bit older, and when I square off some other stuff. But it's like, yeah, but typically at that point, you're no longer healthy. You're no longer able to get the insurance. Sometimes you can lock in coverage at an early age with convertibility privileges to get to other types of products when you're healthy. So looking into little things like that can make the world of difference from being insured, being uninsured, and not being able to have coverage and being protected.
Absolutely. So you kind of stole my next question. You kind of touched based on it. But how do you help clients decide between term and permanent life insurance without being biased?
Of course, yeah. So for me, in my practice with my partners, right, it's not necessarily, when we're doing analysis with our clients, it's not necessarily product based. It's amount of insurance based, meaning God forbid something happens to you, your beneficiary, your wife, your spouse isn't going to call me and saying, was it a term, was it a whole life, was it an IUL, right? No, it's how much insurance was it, when am I going to get it, and are we going to be okay, right? So I don't look at things from a product perspective until we get down to the nitty gritty of it, right? So surface level, it's finding out what your insurance amount is, right? How much income do we need to replace? How much debt do we need to cover? Things of that nature. And then from there, it's, okay, well, what's our budget? And then we look into products. How do we fit the most amount of insurance within your budget? Because I want to make sure you're fully protected for the short term. And then as we grow, as years go by, we could look at shifting. Typically as we get older, our budget gets a little bit more. We're allowed to do a little bit more different types of planning. But again, for me, it's making sure we're protected holistically from the top and then worrying about product from the back end.
Beautiful. So obviously, when someone passes, they can utilize benefits, but are there any living benefits that people can capitalize on while they're still here and can enjoy them?
Yeah. So obviously there's, from a life insurance perspective, right, there's your permanent products. That the permanent side could pyramid down to a bunch of different types, but most of the permanent products have cash values that you're able to access while you're alive. You got to be, again, said it before about education. You got to make sure you understand the difference between the products, the difference of how the cash value works, how you can access your cash, because every policy is going to have different terms. Every company has different terms. So you want to make sure you understand it. But yes, there's a lot of different permanent products that can grow cash value based off the insurance company, based off the markets, based off of interest rates, right? There's a lot of different avenues there. But we see a lot of clients utilizing those cash value life insurances for big purchases, big investments down the line, whether it's real estate, whether it's college funding. Some people, if you start early enough, you can build a good nest egg into a policy where people are using it. I've seen nowadays for vacations. Like, hey, I'm just going to pay for a vacation out of my permanent cash value life insurance, and then I'll pay back if I want to, or if not, whatever amount you take out of the policy gets deducted from your death benefit upon death.
Beautiful. Great stuff. We're learning a lot here with Thomas. So do want to remind you guys at home, if you have a question, comment, concern, please put it in the comment section. We'll answer it live. Now, you kind of touched base on it before. I want to dive in maybe a little bit more. If there's any more details we can go over, but I see it everywhere on TikTok. People being like, oh yeah, infinite banking. You become your own bank and you make a life insurance policy and you just keep pulling out money and paying yourself back and all this. Like, so is it true I can buy a Lamborghini and pay myself back?
In some scenarios, yes.
All right.
Again, I think it's important.
Yeah, we all heard you. I can buy a Lamborghini right now and pay myself back. All right.
I think it's important, right? Like, you really need to understand the policies. There's a lot of stuff especially on TikTok nowadays. You're seeing like you put $10 in, you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow. It's not realistic, right? These insurance policies are really meant for the long term. There's ways to structure them short term where you're going to get some early influx of cash, but again, to buy a Lamborghini, you need to be putting a lot of money into a plan as well, right? So I think when people see that type of video, that those TikToks, right? Like they think like this is easy. Let me just put $50 in a month and I'm going to get access to all. It's not how it works. It needs to be structured properly. It needs to have time to grow, right? Early on, because at the end of the day, it's an insurance policy. So you give 1 month's premium, your benefit, and God forbid you pass away, insurance company's on the hook for the death benefit. So that comes at a cost, right? So therefore, you're not getting instant access to cash. But if you give it time, if you give it its maturity to grow, you'll have. I mean, I have clients with $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 in cash value, right? After a handful of years where they've been paying into it, but now they're utilizing that, like I said before, to go on vacation. Some people probably do buy a Lamborghini. Right? You get people who use it for additions on houses, stuff like that. You got to give it time to grow. And I think, unfortunately with social media, right, you'll see plans where, hey, you put money in today and by tomorrow it doubles. It's not realistic. That's because who wouldn't be doing it? Right?
Yeah, I was planning on getting a Lamborghini tomorrow.
Exactly.
Guess I'm not doing it anymore.
You got to give it its time, and that's where education comes in. That's where understanding the difference between these products really makes a difference.
Nice. So then, obviously people see these things, they get excited. Some people see them and it turns them away, whatever. So if someone's on the fence and they're hesitant to purchase life insurance, what's the number one thing you want them to understand?
I want them to, it's not even about them understanding first. It's me understanding why they're interested. What's the reason for that they're reaching out to me, or, we kind of connected to get some type of insurance, right? Again, sometimes it's, I said it before, right? I meet with people just starting out, having a family, and they're like, I want permanent life insurance. Well, to me, that's not the goal here. The goal is to protect your family. We should be looking at other products that are going to get you more coverage for cheaper premium, right? If it's, well, I saw something on TikTok and I want to be able to buy a Lamborghini tomorrow. well, what's everything else look like? A lot of times people are being sold policies as the one fit wonder for their overall plan. It's not, right? It's a piece of an overall puzzle where you should be working with a financial advisor. You should be working with an insurance agent, estate planner. It's one piece to an overall financial plan that needs to be kind of considered. So, you ask, well, what are we looking at? We're looking at what else are you doing? How do we make sure you're covered on every basis? And then we're working backwards from that number.
Beautiful. Great stuff. And like I said, guys, if you have a question, please put in the comment section. We'll answer with you today. So one thing that's taking every industry by storm, some people are nervous about it. We here at Undefeated think it's a tool and it's great to help us do work. But the big trending topic in every industry right now is AI and how is it impacting or how you're utilizing it in your business. So any industry tips or anything you're learning or seeing breaking edge with the AI technologies?
I mean, listen, I agree with you. I think it's a tool, right? We utilize it in our practice for note taking. We have, AI note takers. We have it for social. We use it for websites, social media, stuff like that, CRMs. I don't believe that it's going to take over our positions. I think at the end of the day, for the most part, right? Obviously, you can't speak to every single person, but I think most people do want to, when they're making these types of protection decisions, they want to work with somebody. They want to have conversations. I still get a lot of people coming to my office, and we're meeting on a daily basis, right? So I don't see AI taking over my role, but it definitely is a tool for helping me and my team with follow-up emails. Hey, here's a homework list of things that need to be addressed that we discussed. Here's just notes, like here's what I jotted down. Tell me what's right. Tell me what's wrong. That we've implemented that into our systems, meeting with clients, and it's alleviated a lot of pressure and time. Just we drafted up emails nowadays. You can throw your notes into an AI, and within 30 seconds, it's a proper language, Grammarly email that we could just copy paste and boom, that's it. So. We're definitely utilizing it. Again, I don't think it's going to take over my physical role. I hope not. But I think what we do is just too important for people to rely on AI only.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any challenges that the industry's facing or that agents are facing today that you kind of capitalize on and you is a strong suit for you? Like anything that the average agent is struggling with, but not our superstar Thomas.
Yeah. I'd say one thing that it's fortunate for me, right? A lot of people, the insurance industry, it's a grind, right? But being so young when I got in, I was 21 years old, right? At the time, a lot of people weren't buying insurance, right?
Mhm.
I don't know about you if you got an insurance policy when you started looking at it, but I distinctly remember meeting with people 21 years old, like, hey, I can't afford that right now. And then we go to the bar that night, and there was no limit, right? So I was able to kind of survive the grind over the first like 3, 4, 5 years to the point where, when I got to a little bit more senior, still young, 26, 27 years old, like that's when people started getting into the market. So the industry as a whole is a grind. You deal with people. I'm sure you deal with people all the time, and that's one challenge in itself. And then you got, because it's insurance, you have underwriting, just trying to figure out how to best position clients into certain insurance carriers with their products. Making sure we can get them approved is always a challenge, because a lot of times you get people reaching out to you about insurance, like when it's too late, when it's, hey, I just got diagnosed with something, and now I'm interested because I gained 30 pounds. Like, we need to get in front of that. So part of that is just marketing, right? Utilizing my network, my channels, just trying to build good relationships with people and get in front of, hey, before it's too late, before you gain those 30 pounds before Christmas or whatever holiday, right? Like it's those challenges, but we work through it. Every insurance carrier is different. We're able to kind of put our clients in different positions, and we sell stories. We don't just put an application in and let it go and see what happens. We're working with underwriters hands-on to try to say, hey, here's why, maybe my client just had a baby. That's why their level's a little bit high. We kind of work with them to say, look beyond some of the numbers sometimes, and it works, and sometimes it doesn't. We go elsewhere. So we're willing to work with pretty much any carrier. So.
Awesome. Great stuff so far. Awesome stuff. Like I said, if you got a question, put in the comment section. We'll answer it live with you today. And spoiler alert, we use this for marketing too. So we like to, cut up clips and you gave us a lot of tips already that we're going to cut up and, put out there for little social media posts. But is there any tips, tricks, or anything else we haven't uncovered that you want to add?
Listen, not from necessarily the insurance basis, but, obviously we met through LeTip, right? I think it's important that, for any business, it's look beyond just the networking, going to the Wednesday mornings, like do things like this, get out, build relationships with people. That's, I did that early on, got into a Chamber of Commerce, got into a few other networking groups who I still now get business from. You got to look beyond just the, what can I do? What can this person do for me, versus what can they do for you? And, really just build relationships. I think early challenges you asked before, like now I think about it out loud, like, building relationships is the key to any good, successful business, right? And
Absolutely.
A lot of people, especially in what's the common saying? Like, don't get stuck in the elevator with an insurance agent, because they're looking for the quick sale. They're looking for, how do I get a policy, jam it down this person's throat, and move on to the next. Transactional. That's not who I am. It's not how I built my practice after 13, 14 years, right? It's through relationships. It's through getting to know people on a personal, business level, and just staying in touch, doing coffee meetings, doing podcasts, and obviously the every Wednesday stuff. But from a business perspective, every business, it's a grind. You got to work through it, but building relationships is what's going to keep you alive. And then down the line, we heard great speakers this week who talked about like what one lead did for them, and I think that's just the key to everything. Like, build a good, strong relationship business, and you'll be in it for the long haul.
100%. Love it. That's great stuff. And that brings us to a great transition, because, it's all about relationships. It's all about getting to know people. So we've talked a ton about the business side of things. Let's start to get to know you personally and what you're all about. So we talked about the business. You got 2 kids.
Yep.
So tell us about what's family life like. What's going on over there?
I'm in the weeds of it. Right. So,
all right. Yeah.
So like I said, I have a almost 3-year-old and a 9-month-old. We just moved as well. So we're in Hillsdale, New Jersey. And that on top of the whole holiday season was a little wild, tough transition, but we're enjoying the most of it now.
Nice.
It's I grew up in Old Japan. We were talking about this before. I played 2 sports, basketball, baseball in high school.
Nice.
A little bit of competition between Northern Highlands, but
we won most of them, I guess.
Like I said, maybe you were there. But it's a little different now, but I still play. I'm in a men's basketball league. I go to Lifetime in Montreal,
Nice.
so I'm still trying to stay active.
Mm-hmm.
Still think I got it when I know I don't, but it's fun.
Just stretch.
Exactly. Yeah.
I tore my Achilles a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's a hard rebound.
Oh yeah, it's stuck. It's stuck. Yeah, it was tough. I was playing basketball. I was trying to stay. I'll play basketball all day. I don't want to run a treadmill for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing, and just made the wrong move. Popped right off. Felt like someone hit me from behind.
Yeah.
So I turn around. Yeah, it felt like I got shot in the back of the leg. I turn around. I'm like, what the hell? Nobody there. Before it happened, it was a little sore in that area. I ignored it. I didn't stretch it out, and
because you think you're still in it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was like my biggest injury ever. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So sport guy.
Sport guy, right? Yankee
Nice.
fan, Nick fan.
Nice.
Football, not really so much.
No.
Giants, but it's all right.
All right.
But we were a divided household.
There's nothing to cheer for in MetLife.
No, that's true. Well, Giants now, right?
Yeah, we got a little hope, but there's always a little hope.
Yeah.
There's always a little hope.
And they'll always let you
and they
down.
always let me down.
We were a divided household. I'm a family of 4.
Mhm.
I have a brother and 2 sisters. I was a Yankees fan. Brother's a Mets fan.
Wow.
So that's been fun. Showing
House
history,
divided, yeah.
Over time, but no, yeah, it's been good. Raised in a great area.
Mhm.
Still got a lot of friends in the community, and I didn't go far, which was nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
The kids into anything yet? Any hobbies they got? Or they're doing gymnastic class or anything like that?
So far, nothing. My she just got potty trained a few months
Nice.
ago. So now
We're in that right now too.
Yeah. So start to get into dance, gymnastics,
Yeah.
soccer in the spring. So
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I was raised. My dad coached everything. Didn't miss a single assignment for my sister's sports event. So looking forward to giving back and trying to be. I used to coach right out of college, 3rd and 4th grade basketball, summer
Nice.
league through the town I grew up in. So that was a lot of fun. And I know that's something that I'm looking forward to in the future, softball or basketball, soccer.
Mhm.
So it'll be a good time.
Absolutely. So I'm right there with you in the woods, just like you are. So I kind of already know the answer to this question, but there might be something you're up to. So it's tough now to have hobbies and do things besides where you do work, you come home, and it's take care of a baby, right? So but are there any hobbies, things you like to do? Maybe be fishing or camping or anything like that?
I'm not a woodsy guy.
Not a woodsy guy. Any other hobbies? They could have been hobbies before the kids came.
It doesn't show about. I do like to work out. I go to the gym
Nice.
5 to 6 days a week. I go in the mornings. I go early, 4:30 a.m.
Nice.
So it's been that's my time to kind of to myself, which is nice because before the kids wake up and then get home, they're waking up, get to spend all day with them, go to work, and then you come home, I feel guilty not going to the gym.
True.
That's why I go early. And then, like I said, I play in the men's basketball league. A couple of buddies are trying to pick up I think it's a Thursday night softball league.
Yeah.
We'll see, because I kind of have a feeling if I did softball, that's when probably I'll pull a hammy or something.
Maybe it's going to be a beer league. There's going to be a keg on the side.
I don't mind that,
Right,
So,
there you go.
listen, no true hobbies. Just getting together with friends, family. Got a lot of family in the area, and a little bit further away that we get to see a lot of nieces, nephews. Spend a lot of time with them, which is awesome.
Beautiful. Great stuff. Guys, on the live stream, we need some questions. So if you have a question, comment, concern, please put it in the comment section. We'll answer it live. Aiden, you got any questions? No? Aiden's just hard at work, pressing the buttons over there in the corner. All right. Let's do, how about we do a speed round? We'll do a speed round. So I'm just going to rapid fire questions. First thing that comes to mind is nothing crazy, nothing serious, but they're, to get to know you, because that's what we're doing here. We're building relationships. We're showing you guys, everyone, the real Thomas Messina here on LeTip Live. So are you ready for the speed round?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Ready, Aiden? All right, here we go. Favorite food?
Veal parm.
Nice. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite dessert?
Chocolate cake.
All right. Favorite sports team?
Next.
All right. So we know you're not really a big football fan, but favorite football team?
Giants.
Okay. Favorite TV show?
I'm watching The Sopranos, so I'll go with.
You're going all the way to the
I'm rewatching it.
All right. So time out on the speed round here. All right. So for example, my wife loved Lost, right? But everyone, no spoilers here, but the ending.
Lost came out how many years ago?
All right, good.
That's
So
not
yeah,
spoilers.
all right,
Come on.
fine, fair enough. But there was very controversial ending
Okay.
of Lost, whatever. So people were like mad. So like that was one of the reasons why I'm not gonna watch this. I'm just gonna be pissed off at the end, right? So do you know what happens? Like,
I've watched it.
Oh, you watched it before?
Yeah,
all
that's
right,
like my third or fourth time.
Okay,
All
right. So it's Sopranos. One of mine is Sons of Anarchy. So I guess I watched that like 4 or 5 times, right? All right. So that's your favorite TV show. Now, do you want to do another column? Do you want to do favorite thing you stream, like on like Netflix or Hulu? Nothing like that. All right.
Again, right now I'm watching Sopranos.
Nice.
Does that count as streaming, right?
I guess you could. It's HBO Max. All right.
See, I don't really stream. I was never a big TV guy. Anytime TV was on was sports.
Yeah.
So
same.
But nowadays you don't get. I don't get Yes. I don't get MSG unless you buy the package. Now you got to stay in them.
Oh yeah, 15 packages. Dude, you're paying
more than you were for cable now.
Yeah, that's the big joke. That's the big scam. And like if you were big into football, you need to have like I think it was like 7 different streaming services to watch the games. It's crazy. So one of my other favorite shows is Ted Lasso. You would like it actually. It's really sports oriented, but it's also like being a good person, being a good leader, and a good coach. So I watched
the first like handful of episodes were on
Apple TV.
So it was on like Hulu or something. The first like 5 episodes on Hulu.
Okay.
Because I didn't have Apple TV.
Yeah.
Now I do. I gotta go back to it. And then it wasn't on Hulu. I'm like, I can't pick it up. So I never got to finish it.
I liked it.
But it was a great show.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he's great. Awesome. Great show, but the question I'm about to ask, absolutely. The question I'm going to ask you is one of his questions that he goes around asking people. The question is, first concert, best concert.
First concert, I have no idea. I want to say it was probably like, again, I grew up with older sisters, so it was probably like a Backstreet Boys NSYNC concert, right? I'll go right out there and say it.
I'm laughing because me too.
That was it.
That was like the first concert I went to. I didn't have a sister, but like my neighbors were girls, and I was trying to be friendly with all the girls next door. Yeah, I'll go to the Backstreet Boy concert.
Why not? Yeah, so that's probably the first one. I mean, I don't know. Would you count? I went to like the last at the time 2014 Swedish House Mafia concert. I don't know if that's a concert or rave. Not a Billy Joel. I'm a big Billy Joel guy.
All right.
I've seen him 3-4 times live. So
nice.
Love some good Billy. So
I'd
say probably Billy Joel.
How about Springsteen? You ever see Springsteen?
I don't think I've ever been to a Springsteen concert.
Springsteen and that MetLife was pretty crazy.
I've been to Bon Jovi back in the day. My mom's a big Elton John fan, so we took it to Elton John once. So
awesome.
Been to a handful of concerts, but
great.
Yeah, probably Billy Joel. I've seen him, like I said, 3-4 times.
Nice.
So he's always good.
Beautiful. I'm running low here on these speed rounds. Aiden, got any help in the speed round questions? There you go. Favorite artist?
Probably Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Yeah,
all right. We did sports. We did food. We did TV. How about favorite movie? There you go.
Favorite movie? I love Man on Fire with Denzel Washington.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I just love his character and the heart he puts into it, protection. And
nice.
He doesn't, goes after everybody, gets in his way. So
that was a good one.
Yeah.
So when that came out, I was like in high school, and ironically, my first job was a video store over here in Waldwick. The owners of that building were also the owners I ran here. So we were talking about, my rental situation here. But yeah, my first job, and like that was like we would get the movies. Like they would come out on Friday, but the box would come in like Monday and Tuesday. We would get to like watch them and take them home and stuff. Back when like movies were like physical, DVDs.
I have like two, 3 bins of like DVDs. I don't even know what to do with them anymore.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be collector's items. So I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist here, but I just saw this.
The second time you said that today.
Yeah, I'm probably full-fledged conspiracy theorist now. But like the funny thing is, it's facts though, so it's like weird. So it's like the conspiracy people are right apparently. Anyway, I'm just joking. So you ever see the movie? I think it was Scary Movie 2.
Yeah, probably. I don't remember the difference, but probably.
Okay. Well, the reason why I'm asking you because like there's a scene where like he's got like a smaller hand. He's like the butler, right? And the guy falls out the window and he's holding on for dear life. And like this is like what is it called when like they changed something in the past? Mandela effect. Okay. So I know for a fact he's like grab my hand, and he's like whatever, and he's like give me your other hand. He's like it's my strong hand, right? So apparently Mandela effect, like he doesn't say that at all. He says he's like no, grab my small hand or whatever. But like Mandela, and so the post I seen, someone got tattooed grab my strong hand because he loved that scene so much. He's like no, it's 100%. Yeah, well it's like changed. It's the Mandela effect. But yes.
Well, that's why I got to go back to those old DVDs.
That's why that's the point. You can't change that. You can't change that. So those are going to be collector's items, I feel like. And that's kind of the conspiracy theorist, is that, you know, the people that they can change history if it's all streaming. If we don't have physical copies of stuff, you can change history. Besides the conspiracy questions, anybody from home have any questions, please put in the comments section. The viewers at home were a little quiet today, but we did have Connor Jewett chime in, and he loves to watch LeTip Live. So thank you, Connor, for joining in and watching LeTip Live with us. Any questions, comments, concerns that you might have? You don't have to. I'm just saying anything we didn't touch base on, right?
No, just, you know what? It's never too early. It's never too late to start planning, right? That's the one thing I would say from again, going back to business here, but it's never too early, never too late. Have a conversation. You know, there's no fees to just have a conversation, to start looking at plans, making sure you're protected. Again, especially you got young kids, you really want to make sure you got some type of life insurance, because we see it too often. GoFundMe accounts, right? You see that flying around all the time. It's put a proper life insurance plan in place. You don't have to worry about that. You don't need your family to go out looking for funds. So have a conversation, can't hurt.
Yes. And if you're going to have a conversation, I am telling you the best person to have a conversation with is Thomas Messina from NEXUS. What's the best way that people get a hold of you?
Best way would probably be send me an email. My email's on
why don't you just tell us right now?
Email is thomas@nexuswealthstrategies.com. You can always give me a call as well on a cell phone number.
Sure.
Give me the office line, 201-291-5410. My office line gets right to my cell phone. I'll pick it up, have a conversation, go from there.
I hope my spelling's correct, but that's what I got. Thomas at NEXUSwealthstrategies.com. My spelling's terrible. I'm more of a creative guy, but that is close to it. If it is it, there you go.
That's impressive.
Thank you. That was a big one for me today. So yes, if you're looking to just talk, you know, it's nothing set in stone, but a good time to have the conversation, especially if you're a new growing family. You want to make sure everyone's taken care of. Anything else we didn't uncover today?
Let's hope summer comes.
Right? Yeah, we got one more little blip right here, right?
Next week. That's what I think.
I thought it was Sunday we're supposed to have snow. That's next week now.
I thought I saw Tuesday.
Oh my God! The goalpost keeps changing on us. But Thomas, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate your time.
Absolutely appreciate having you. I hope you guys learned something at home. And like we said, if you have any questions, reach Thomas at NEXUSwealthstrategies.com. And we'll see you next time on LeTip Live.